So, hello everyone. It's me again. And on those previous videos, I have told you about the uh, knowledge about our bodies, and also it is about the social issues. So today we're gonna move to study, yeah, a very important aspect of any learners. So our main topic today is the fifth language skills. Now we shall begin. Put your headphone on and enjoy the best volume qualities as you wish. So cultures is often left out of a language courses, but some claim that it is the most important aspect of picking up a new language. So language learners and instructors know that four skills are needed to be able to communicate in any language. These are speaking, listening, reading, and writing. This communicative approach to language has long been primarily basics of the second language learning environment. In this approach, some information about culture may be provided to language learners, but the overwhelming emphasis is on the four skills and basic, mostly literal communications. Of late, however, more more emphasis is being placed on the fifth language skills of cultural communication. As more and more experts are stressing the importance of assimilating the cultures associated with a language. In fact, the intercultural approach is now considered so essential that it cannot be avoided if learners hope to gain the true command of any language. Some intercultures approach to language learning first attracted the attention of language experts after the publication of Louis Demon's cultural learning. The fifth dimensions in uh, language classroom. In it, she outlined the need for both intercultural awareness and intercultural skill development and put these under the umbrella term pragmatic ethnography. The implication of Damon's intercultural approach is that native language skills and competence and the competence in target language are insufficient for instructions, and those educators must function more like experienced cultural guides who are trained observers and capable of facilitating effective intercultural communication. In the cultural context of second language learning, a useful heuristic paradigms is four-stage models of the language acquisition that separates understanding into four levels: tourist, survivor, immigrant, and citizen. This is followed by the information from Antons and Walker de Felix from the 1995. Under these models, it is impossible for any person to acquire a citizen level of communicative competence if they do not have the thorough understanding of the myriad cultural aspects of language. And achievement certain achievement is likely only for highly motivated students who are both willing to uh, acculturate and are from a culture that is not extreme in its social distance from the cultures of the target language. This is from Schwartzman, the 1978. Third, it goes without saying that the Big Four language skills alone are not always enough for foreign speakers to fully master a second language or gain acceptance among the community of native speakers. Without cultural sensitive and aware, let me see, let me remember, and aware and a careful reflections of his or her own values, norms, and attitudes. A person's linguistic ability alone may not prevent the perception that they are an outsiders. An outsiders never know anything inside. To achieve a status of an insider, he or she must learn not to only recognize and accept the cultural difference, but also to appreciate and value them. But what cultures should be taught in classroom? For simplicity and convenience, researchers refer to Big C and Little C culture to distinguish the more formal elements of a culture from those that are encountered in less formal everyday situations. Big C culture corresponds to the social, political, and economics in institutions and of given a society as well as the great historic figures that contribute to the artistic, literary, and scientific achievements of that society. These informations inform the National Standards in Foreigners Language Education project from the 1996. Yeah. While literacy culture represents the sum of patterns of behavior that members of a given culture consider necessary for daily life, including clothing, housing, food, transportations, and more. Let me see. Another way to look at it is the former represents the elite cultures of high society, whereas the latter corresponds to in to the interests and activities of ordinary people. That does not mean there's enough overlap at all. However, because even though citizens spend their time with mundane tasks like greeting people, working, shopping, they are nonetheless interested in bigger issues, such as social stratifications and economic policies, which directly impact their life. It is generally the case that literacy cultures is the most advanced in language curricula and the most difficult to include due to its continually changing nature. Yet, is yet a problematic issue with the empathic fifth skills itself, which suggests that cultures is an added-on element to language learning rather than a fundamental one. Ram Marsh from the 1993 claims that cultures is always in the background, right from the day one, ready to unsettle the good language learners when they expect its place, making evident the limitation of their hard-won communicative competence, challenging their ability to make sense of the world around them. This dogmatic approach to cultures is an integral and inescapable part of communication, underscores the importance of and the changes inherent in language teaching. Therefore, some education think that culture should be viewed as first, rather than fifth skills, Tom Linson from the 1999. Although the primacy of cultures is no goal, it is nonetheless helpful thinking to assume that it can be easily prioritized in a curriculum or teachers are generally capable of carrying it out. The language curriculum is already full as it is, and the language teachers typically have a very limited instruction time with any given student or a group of students. Many educators are not trained to handle this burden, and thus in self-training and faculty development would be necessary to put cultures at the center of the language curriculum. The bottom line is that any fifth skill time in classroom will need to be supplemented by the enormous greater numbers of hours spent by the students immersing himself or herself in the cultures of the target language in the real world. So that's all. Thank you for your listening. That's